you very much for speaking to us. PALU is celebrating 20 years.
Yes.
How much has the legal profession done in these 20 years? How can you just briefly?
Okay, very briefly, madam. Thank you for your
Okay. Yes.
thank you, madam, for your question. Yes, PALU is celebrating its 20th anniversary here in Addis, and during these last 20 years, we have done a lot. We have been very implicated in African governance policy. We have our area of practice is also to defend the independence of judiciary and independence of lawyers, and we are tackling now financial economic crimes, and we are working in, let's say we have a memorandum of understanding with African Union. So on this basis, we are also cooperating with this institution in tackling all these governance, electoral process in Africa. So, Africa, in some countries, elections are being treated as a matter of do or die or life, but we have to continue to educate lawyers to involve them in the peace security in Africa.
Then, sir, if we look at how the African continent has performed, especially in tackling, respect to rule of law.
Yes.
As experts in the legal profession, do you think that Africa has done, the continent has done well in the 20 years, or we still need to do more?
We still to do more. We still to do more. In some part of Africa, Africa is not as a global continent in the same level. We have some part of Africa who, let's say, we can commend leaders. They are doing well, but we are also some part of our continent where there are real issues of governance and respect of rule of law. So we are dealing with all these issues. We have 5 vice presidents, each of them in charge of one of region of Africa. So we are monitoring the situations and trying specifically concerning each region to highlight some violations of rule of law. Yes.
Then, sir, also allow me to ask. Now they're discussing about we have the continental free trade area.
Yes.
The African Union. From the opening speech, they've talked about the legal professionals need to come forth so that Africa can push its own agenda in terms of implementation
Yes.
of the CFTA. What role do you think legal profession can do to make sure the CFTA works well?
Legal profession has a central role to play in generally the economic governance in Africa. And this agreement, which is going to be implemented, is part of different tools we have in Africa to sustain our economic and sustain our development. So we have lawyers are in front of economic problems, right? And we have to be there, and PALU is intending to play its role in the implementation efficiency of this agreement.
Finally, how important is it for African countries as we implement to include African lawyers in the process?
It's in their interest also. It is our Africans who will build Africa. We need to include legal professionals, African legal professionals, in all our development policies. We cannot develop our continents with external expertise. So that's why we are pledging in PALU to use our memorandum of understanding with PALU, with African Union, to play all our role in this implementation, because we cannot implement our instruments with external expertise. So one of the key strategy of PALU is to strengthen the legal continuation of its members to be able to do this challenge. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the English was amazing. No, looking at PALU over the past 20 years, what are some of the achievements that the union has done, and how much more do we still have to go?
Well, it's a work in progress. But the thing is, when we started the Pan African Lawyers Union 20 years ago, we had a union of lawyers that was Portuguese speaking, French speaking, Arab speaking, English speaking, and they met in different chapters. And so the continent, the lawyers of the continent didn't speak to each other. So just bringing all of this together and getting them to dissolve their organizations to form one, in African terms, that's a fit. It's quite a fit. And I'm happy we succeeded to do that. And we got a lot of support from institutions. We signed an MOU with the African Union. We got a big boost from the African Development Bank. And many of the new initiatives that are coming on are now bringing PALU on board as a necessary and vital partner. And I think that makes a statement as to what PALU has done. But now what PALU has to do is to cause the younger lawyers of the African continent to join, must come in and make this their home association. It's okay to go to the International Bar Association, the Union Internationale des Avocats, and all these international organizations where Africa gets swamped and our own issues are not discussed. But PALU is Afrocentric, and that's why it's vital for the next 20 years to be focused on recruiting African lawyers, because they can now help in the interface between our institutions and the voiceless.
And so a very good discussion was happening on the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Correct.
How best can the African Union, individual countries, involve African legal professionals in the implementation?
Yeah, they should stay away from the reflex of always having these Western law firms and everything, and all these big accounting firms. They must have a system by tapping from our local bar associations and for our regional bar associations to make sure they have the talent that can service the continent. If not, help in building the capacity. I mentioned the African Development Bank earlier on. The first structure to put up money for training of lawyers on a regional basis was the African Development Bank. So I think that it is vital for them to partner with homegrown institutions.
Finally, sir, there is a notion that the success of the CFTA will be highly dependent also on the success of good governance in individual countries.
That is vital. I mean, good governance is cross-cutting, and failure of our political systems, the failure of our political parties, the failure even of bar associations, the failure of even African civil society is because of governance. And our institutions and our countries lead the way. I mean, even our churches are having the problems now, just because there is this greed that has gripped our continent, and this race towards having a lot of money and making money. So if you're in a church, you want more money. If you're a politician, you need money to campaign. You know, if you look at Nigeria now, how much is going into campaigns. I'm sure that there are people who have debts to pay in Kenya. So it is a serious problem. And this scramble for funding for political purposes really subs our governance. So I think that you're right. Governance is cross-cutting, and we must see what we're going to do to make sure that, the success of the continent is only possible if the common man is successful. If not, well, we have a long way to go.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Thank you, and have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you.